Hello and welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. I'm Paula Mandella and this is Soul Light Connection, and we want you to know you're in the right place at the right time. Right, Ann?
That's right, just where you are meant to be. And we want you to sing along with us because we know and you know your soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Yeah, your soul is welcome. Our soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. Right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Put your hands together. My soul is welcome here. Tell them about it, Larry. My soul is welcome here. 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 It is welcome here. My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
No ifs, ands, and buts. Your souls are welcome here. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good to see you today.
Good morning, Reverend James. And this is Reverend James Trapp, and I am Reverend Deborah, as he said. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred. And in the warm and loving energy of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and in the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no place that God is not. And if you're with us for the very first time today, either online or here in the sanctuary, we especially welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every one of us is here by divine appointment. And we're just thrilled to have you with us today. And of course, we are always thrilled when you remember to silence your electronic devices as we go into prayer.
As we take this time to commune with the presence, we remember its essential quality. That this presence that we call God, but is known by many different names, is love. And we are here to be the expression of that loving presence. For we are made in the image and likeness of all the qualities of this spiritual essence. So we make it the activity of the thoughts that we have, the words that we speak, the actions that we take. So that not only are we lifted up, but we begin to transform the very world in which we live. For we know this presence, this power of love is far more powerful than any experience that it encounters. It is the foundation of life itself. So we're grateful to be the vessels and the vehicles of this divine, loving presence as we go forth, multiplying and activating and spreading this quality everywhere that we go. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And our mission for Spiritual Life Center as we carry out this loving presence is as follows. We transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And the means in which we do that is carrying out those 5 basic principles that undergird everything that we do within the community, that really says in some way, shape, or form, this is who we are and what we're about. These are these principles. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action. And this being the first week in June, anyone that has June birthdays, you can here in the sanctuary stand, and if you're online, just stand as well, and we will feel your energy coming through as we acknowledge your birthday this month.
If you are having a birthday, this song goes out to you. We want to wish you a very special SLC happy birthday. So everybody, join in and sing along. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And I'll be singing happy birthday to people for all week because that song just sticks in my head. So this week on our podcast, Discovering Spirit Within, I asked the question, do you use affirmations, and do you feel that sometimes you're just trying to feel happy and positive when you don't feel like that at all? Beyond Positive Thinking offers a look at the difference between real affirmative living and what is being called toxic positivity. I offer some down-to-earth examples and advice on how to use the process of denial and affirmation to help you move through circumstances in your life. So it is available now. Discovering Spirit Within premieres every Wednesday morning, and you can find all of our podcasts on our website or on your favorite podcast app.
Wonderful. Teresa Campos, who was here last week giving the talk, says that the distracting sounds of the world have become so loud that we are often unable to hear our own voices. So in July, you can journey with Teresa into the indigenous perspectives of use of transformational tools, stories, and concepts to awaken your spirit. In this interactive workshop, you will learn the symbolic meanings of 4 directions, discover your personal relationship with those 4 directions, which is your personal direction, and how to call in medicine from other directions as well. So you can join Teresa by Zoom on July 7th as well as July 14th, and that'll be taking place at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can register today on the website. You can start engaging in that process. Also, as we always do, we acknowledge those who are recipients of our community giving program. And today, our community giving partner for June is the Gender Health Center. And first of all, we're going to have Kerry Friedman, who is part of that committee, to give us a video to introduce that recipient.
Good morning and happy Pride Month. I'm Kerry Freeman. I co-nominated this month's community partner with CJ Walton. Thank you, CJ, for your activism and participation in this process. We are grateful our Community Giving Committee have endorsed this nonprofit along with the other 11 organizations recognized this year. I nominated Gender Health Center because they are on the front lines of emotionally supporting and literally saving lives of queer and transgendered individuals, particularly our brothers and sisters of color. The staff of Gender Health Center are providing specialized services that many can't find anywhere else. Trauma counseling and therapy, a safe respite place, and mostly Gender Health Center is committed to tearing down the systemic racism and oppression our society has imparted on queer and transgendered people. Thank you to the SLC congregation for your monetary support so we can share our prosperity with the Gender Health Center, and in turn, they and those they serve can love, serve, and remember with dignity. Thank you, and please welcome Ryan to Sitlali of the Gender Health Center. Thank you.
And Ryan, I'm going to give you this check as our support. You can have that right there. I'm sure you're going to say a few words with us and take that with you. Don't forget.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is my second time speaking in front of a group of people in the past year and a half, the first time being at the 9 a.m. service. My name is Ryan. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the Executive and Mental Health Director at Gender Health Center. Thanks for having me here today with y'all in person and joining virtually. I'm grateful for every opportunity that I get to talk about GHC and the amazing work that we've done, are doing, and are going to accomplish. We've certainly come a long way since we were founded in 2010, and a longer way even since the beginning of COVID. And like many of you, GHC has had to pull through trials and tribulations that no one could have prepared us for over the past year. Gender Health Center is a one-stop shop for trans people under one roof and with a staff of only 12, and a larger volunteer roster of students, medical providers, attorneys, and therapists. GHC provides gender-affirming therapy services for individuals and families, legal systems navigation for name and gender changes, healthcare enrollment, advocacy, hormone clinic, syringe exchange, support groups, education, training, and a plethora of other services. All of our services are free or sliding scale, and we don't turn anyone away for inability to pay because we want to reach the folks in our community who have the least access to these existing systems of care. And we end up catching a lot of the folks who fall through the cracks of our healthcare system. So those are folks like trans folks, folks who are undocumented, folks who are uninsured, and folks who are homeless as well. And because of this, we rely on grants, donations, and fundraisers like these ones to keep our doors open. GHC is coming out of this pandemic completely refocused and rebranded. Over the course of the last year, we've updated our logo, our mission and vision statements, transitioned almost entirely online. We even opened up our own store. We're not only a trans-led organization by and for the community, but we're now also a youth and majority people of color-led organization. I came into this role of executive director at the beginning of this year at the tender age of 25, tasked with steering the ship through these very turbulent COVID waters. And your donations will go directly to programming, staffing, and the development of young people, trans people, and young trans people of color. We do have a big annual fundraiser happening on June 30th. It's called National Give Out Day, and there are prizes for GHC depending on the donations that we get on the day of. And that is a campaign that will fund GHC's first move. We're currently in a building that is not ADA accessible. We're looking for a building that can access our entire community. So please check us out on our social media at Gender Health SAC, and that's our handle on all of our media platforms, or you can go directly to mightycause.com/genderhealthcenter and click on the Give Out Day campaign. And I'll be around if anyone wants to chat after. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Be sure to stop by the table on your way out. As we look forward to beginning again, we're starting over in a lot of ways. Just as Ryan is saying, that's the first time he's spoken in public. And I think 2 weeks ago, James, it was the first time that we had spoken in public in a long time.
Yeah.
So as we're starting to bring the entire ministry team back in person for our Sunday experience, we have several exciting volunteer opportunities that begin very, very soon. For example, we are looking for 1 or 2 PowerPoint pilots to keep us all on track with our announcements and our song lyrics. And this is a very important part of our service, so we need a couple of really adept people. And discover more about the PowerPoint pilots or other opportunities, you can go to our website and see what pulls on your heartstrings, because we need you. We want you, and besides which, it just is so fulfilling to help keep this ministry going. So you can go to our website and find out what the opportunities are and who to contact about them.
Just a reminder that our hybrid Sunday experience will continue with our live speakers and pre-recorded music. And remember that Spiritual Life Center is in alignment with the Sacramento COVID guidelines at this time. The reason we've become aware that it's been elevated from red to orange, and we're looking at what that means for us, and so we'll let you know what that means for us as a community. In the meantime, continue to register for each week's service, and we'll be open on Sunday afternoon for that registration, and it closes on 6 p.m. on Friday, so the staff as well as the volunteers can prepare seating for the Sunday experience. So visit our website for details as they evolve and are revealed, because what is known today may be different tomorrow, so stay up.
We love to greet our newcomers, both in person and online, and we want you to know that we are very, very happy that you are with us as you walk your unique spiritual path. You can learn more about us by going to slcworld.org/connect, and when you fill out the online card, you can choose to receive our weekly message, find opportunities for connecting with our prayer chaplains and small groups. And you can also ask to be notified of greater ways to connect with us virtually as we expand our online community. And speaking of connecting, you can find everything that's going on at SLC by going to slcworld.org.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. And James, what's coming up next?
I think we want to have some musicality
I
from
think
our
you
music
said-
team.
I think it's a love song, right?
A love song of some sort, yes.
All right.
Be ready.
Let's go.
The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean?
As we move into the introspective aspect of our service, let us say our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive.
If love is why we're here, let us be each an open channel. As we settle into this time of quiet, breathe naturally. Simply become aware of how you relax with each breath. Breathe into the back of your heart and then breathe out. Melt into your seat. Allow your vision to become soft and cloudy. Close your eyes. And watch as your consciousness drifts up into a light daydream. And come with me into the spiral of love. You stand at the hedge. You stand at the head of a hedge-lined path. A very friendly puppy bounces up to you, jumping and twirling around, a sign that says, "Welcome to the spiral of love." And then she bounces over to you, exuding love and joy. The puppy makes you laugh, and your heart opens to receive this love. The puppy runs along the path, stopping and looking back as if to say, "Follow me." The path is beautiful, lined with hedges and flowers, and there are birds and butterflies. Peace abounds. Coming into the first curve of the spiral, a small child runs to greet you. The child giggles and reaches up to show you a special toy. As you bend down to look at the toy, the child wraps its arms around your neck and hugs you. Joy and love tingle throughout your entire body. Receiving this love, your heart opens a little more. Following the puppy and child along the path, you laugh with glee as they bounce and run in pure joy, simply for being. And as you enter the next curve, a couple is dancing. They twirl and spin, exuding love and peace and joy. And they spin around you. Sparks fly that resolve into strands of light, spiraling around you. Receiving this deep love, your heart opens even wider. By now, you are so filled with love that you feel that you cannot hold anymore. Still, your companions move ahead of you, their lights of love and joy pulling you along. An ethereal being clad in white stands in the middle of the path now, arms spread wide. And you walk right into those arms, which wrap around you in the purest, loving embrace that you have ever felt. You feel safe and warm. Love and joy permeate your body, your bones, your cells, your very soul. Your heart opens even wider, immersed in pure love. The being takes you by the hand and leads you around the last curve to the center of the spiral. Here burns the light of clear, holy, pure love. And you are immersed in the light, blending, dancing in love and joy, just for being in the silence. You are love. Love is your connection with everything. It keeps you together. It keeps all of us together. And as you take a breath or two to begin to return to your physical body, receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, there is only love. As you walk through the seasons of your life, you will encounter many moods and emotions. And no matter the season, you can always come within where love dwells, where infinite love is bouncing, dancing, embracing you. And you will be held together by the strings of love. Remember this, always.
Hear a newborn baby cry. Hear the farmers pray for rain. One more soldier gives his life. A homeless man begs for change. But change won't come easily. What does this have to do with me? And my heart pounds with the thunder. And I stop and wonder, what should we do with life's surprises? Every day the sun rises on us, like a swing set in the graveyard, like a bloom in the desert sand. Look at my trembling hands, 'cause it hits me like lightning that love must keep fighting. And somehow, every time, love is gonna break through. 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 World inside a clear blue sky, teeming with humanity. Tears and laughter intertwine, our comedies and tragedies, and history is a runaway. But not so far that love can't find and save. And my heart pounds with the thunder, and I stop and wonder, what should we do with life's surprises? Every day the sun rises on us, like a swing set in the graveyard, like a bloom in the desert sand. Look at my trembling hands, 'cause it hits me like lightning that love must keep fighting. And somehow, every time, love is gonna break through. 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 It takes my breath, it comes to this. We all bleed red, you can't resist the changing wind, the roaring tide. Come on, get on the wind side. Love is gonna break through. 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 And my heart pounds with the thunder, and I stop and wonder, what should we do with life's surprises? Every day the sun rises on us, like a swing set in the graveyard, like a bloom in the desert sand. Look at my trembling hands, 'cause it hits me like lightning that love must keep fighting. And somehow, every time, love is gonna break through.
Love is gonna break through. Thank you for the lights. I recall reading about a gentleman who wrote a couple of books named Robert Greene. And he wrote a couple of books. One I know is The 48 Laws of Power, and the other one was called Mastery. And he was asked one time, if you were to give someone just a 5-minute overview of what it takes to master something, what would be the most important factors to take in consideration? And he said, well, to master anything, you will not be able to do it unless you take in consideration this very important point. It is something that you have to understand. And according to him, our brain, I would say our mind, really learns best when it's emotionally engaged in something, when it really wants to learn, when it's motivated. And he gave an example. And he said that, let's say that you wanted to learn Spanish. I'm actually learning Spanish or relearning some of my Spanish. I've been taking it on this over the pandemic. I've been using this app called Duolingo to up my Spanish game a little bit. But anyway, say you want to learn Spanish, you can either learn it in school or you can go over to Spain. And while you're in Spain, you fall in love. But the person you fall in love with doesn't speak English, so you have to learn Spanish in order to communicate with that person. And that would be a motivating factor in helping you learn Spanish because your heart is in it. And so he said, in order to master anything, fall in love. Now, he was talking about it in a bigger way, but he was also talking about romantic love. And of course, love is many levels. But that kind of love even bound that person together more to learn Spanish as well as the other person that was involved. And if we look at all the different gradations of love, love is more than just a feeling. It may start there. As Charles Filmer, the co-founder of Unity, points out, spiritually and mystically, love is the pure essence of being. It binds the human family together. And he called it the greatest harmonizing principle known to humankind. It's something that binds together even when we think everything is against it. It has that kind of power. I remember many years ago when I lived in South Florida, if you ever live in Florida, they have hurricanes like a lot. Starts in June and runs through September is hurricane season. And, it's starting up now. You never know when it's going to come. And of course, when I was very young, I used to say, oh, hurricane, no school. Nowadays, no, you don't want that. But anyway, I remember during the time that we had a hurricane that came, and around that time, there was a lot of conflict going on in the community between the various groups and different nationalities, and, there was a kind of divisiveness that was going on. Anyway, after the hurricane, the power lines were down, and the streets were littered with debris from trees, and it was blocking, people from getting through, and there were days that would go by without electricity. And then food and water suddenly started becoming, scarce as time went on. Yet I remembered something quite vividly that happened during that time. I just recall how people in the community began to come together and support each other. They came together during this crisis to help people they did not know. They came from miles around. They had neighbors who seldom interacted with other neighbors interacting with them. Even people that they did not like that much. People had worked together as if they were a close-knit clan. And so when you look at love as the pure essence of God that binds together the human family, looking back on that experience, that was love in action. Some people may not have seen it that way, but it was there because there was a power that bound those folks together in a divine harmony. There was a realization of oneness. There's the realization of connection with each other. We remember that the nature of God is love, and we are here to perfect that loving. One person says that love is the completeness of life. And it gives every other spiritual practice that we use its power. You know, Apostle Paul, to paraphrase him from the 13th chapter of the book of Corinthians, who gave a dynamic treatise on love. There's a lot of things I don't agree about him, but he gave a dynamic treatise on love, and he notes that if you seem to have everything in life, but if you do not have love, he said, you are nothing. He didn't say you don't have much. He didn't say you're missing a few things. He said you are nothing. And I'm thinking, man, homie, ease up a little bit. That's a little harsh. Give us a little slack. But as we understand what the power of it is, then we understand that love is not something that we give. It is something that we are being. It is a way of being. It's an inner power. And our need is not to be loved, although that's a good thing. Our need is to express it. Our need is to be that loving presence. It's letting the light shine, and it's keeping the lights turned on, so to speak, in our life. And it's not because anyone else needs it. It's not because the world needs it, although the world does need more of that connectiveness, that harmonizing energy. The most important thing is that we let our light shine because we need it to keep our light turned on. This is the key, I believe. If we do not send everything we do wrapped up in that loving energy, that harmonizing energy, then we begin to bring down our consciousness. We begin to suffer. So we want to keep that light on. We want to stay in the flow of that harmonizing energy that Charles Fillmore talked about. We want to stay in the flow of that rhythm of the universe. And one of the keys to keeping that light on is to salute the divinity in others. There's a song I think we sing from time to time. I kind of messed it up the first service, but I think I got it this time. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. All is beautiful. All is well. All is beautiful. All is well. So love is not a simple platitude. All righty. It's not merely a nice thing. It's seeing the potential in everyone. Because if we stop seeing that in everyone, the light begins to go off in us. Now, I have to tell you, it's not always easy to see that potential in everyone. I was thinking about the time I had who eventually became a friend, but it was a classmate. But I don't know in your life, have you ever had individuals who just kind of grate that last nerve within you? You may not have had that experience in your life, but just imagine that you did. Because this person, everything that everyone did around him was wrong. And he was constantly attacking everyone with criticism, including myself. I mean, he would criticize so much that you would think that there was some sort of prize in doing that. You say something, they take the contrary point of view. When that person walked in the room, the thing that you felt like doing was walking right out. That's the kind of person that person ended up showing up for me, at least at that time, at my level of consciousness. And I had a spiritual teacher, a mentor that I used to commiserate with at time to time. And he said, that's a lesson in it for you. Because it's an opportunity to send positive vibes to that person. Because when individuals are in that state, what they're really doing is crying out for help. They're either scarred or scared or both. And that's how they cope with the situation. And I told him, I know it's going to be hard for me to do that because, every time I think about that individual, I have bad intentions in my thinking. And he said, okay, just remember every thought is a prayer. And, you can start your prayer out that way, but in your prayer with this finish, pray for their health, pray for their well-being, pray for their prosperity, pray for their magnificence. And I said, okay. But I tried it, and after a while, even though he may not change that much in the outer, there's a different lens I began to see that person through. Because my enmity toward him began to disappear. That sense of separation began to disintegrate. That oneness began to emerge despite what I was appearing and having appear in my life. This is why I believe the master teacher, Jesus the Christ, said, and I paraphrase here, you have heard that of old that you must love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But he says, pray for those who spitefully use you so that you may become sons and daughters of God, sons and daughters of the Most High. Most of us will easily spend the time to pray for our friends, people we like, if they're going through some health challenges or challenges in other ways in their life. It's easy just to hold the high watch for them, to hold that higher vibration. But oftentimes we don't spend that same type of energy and time speaking about individuals that we call our foes, people that we do not like, people we know are always wrong, people we call our enemies. Now, as I quote that, I'm not saying don't pray for your friends. If at some point, if you consider me a friend, pray for me. If the situation calls for it, I will accept all of them. But the whole idea is we want to pray for those that we seem to have some contrary energy with because it expands our point of view. It begins to bring into our daily practice those individuals and people that we don't get along with, we don't agree with, to be totally opposite points of view that they may have. They may be even off what we consider at times. But as we begin to reach out in an inward way, we challenge the perception of isolation. We have expanded our purview of what a neighbor is. And then we begin to discover, as Jesus the Christ described, that the enemy is always within our own household. In other words, it's within our own minds. We've created a construct of separation. And that perception of separation in all areas of our life is where we need to grow, and we haven't quite matured yet. Those are opportunities for us to evolve. Because, we often project on other people what is really going on within us. So we want to expand our prayer practice. We want to make it a practice that we constantly embrace individuals, past, present, or future, that we may be at odds with. That's why Jesus was like, a lot of people, they liked him a lot, but then when he pushed them to this level, they probably said, no, I will follow him no more, Because when I say past, present, or future, we may be at odds with somebody and we're just waiting to get back at them. In our minds, even though it may not be outside of us, maybe within our minds. I can imagine some people have been waiting for this whole time during this pandemic. I've been holding on to this for this individual for all this time. I mapped out in my own awareness what I'm going to say to them, and I'm going to give them a piece of my mind once I see them in person. Forgetting that if you keep giving a piece over here and a piece over there and a piece there, eventually you look around, you have no mind left. Don't want to do that. So past, present, and future, you begin to break through any sense of separation. This is one strategy to anchor the peace and the love that exists in the mind of spirit, that exists in the mind of God. So when we say love your enemies and pray for those that spitefully use you, you may not be able to bring yourself to say that, they deserve it. But understand you do it because you deserve it. If a person is upset, confused, bitter, resistant, fearful, sometimes angry because of a so-called enemy or so-called other, The problem in terms of spiritual principle is that we have that within us. We cannot see what is not also within us. So the enmity is within us, not necessarily in the other person. And they may have done all sorts of things. They have been doing stuff in the external world and on the worldly plane, but the important thing is what's going on within us. And if we have enmity and hold it, we're going to suffer. We're going to get the consequences because we're cutting off the flow and the process that makes up life, that makes up vitality and harmony and health and all the good that we desire. We cannot have any of that if we're holding enmity within us in any way, shape, or form, because we cannot afford to have thoughts that separate us from the divine. So we want to keep the energy of the divine within us. And remember that God is love. And we are here to perfect our loving. You know, we have all the love that the universe will ever have or has ever had. But we have to accept it. We have to accept it totally and completely. All that has been given to us. You know, I recall, recently I was rewatching an interview of Maya Angelou, the late Maya Angelou. And I know that she was a follower of this philosophy and was very familiar with the text, Lessons in Truth, which I always say is one of my most important texts to review every once in a while. And she's mentioned that there's a line in that book that says, God loves me. And she read that line to a gentleman who happened to be her mentor at the time, a gentleman named Frederick Wilkerson. And he said to Miss Angelou to read that line, and she read it kind of like, God loves me. And then he said to her, read it again. And she said, well, God loves me. And read it again, God loves me. Then she got to a point where she kind of, something clicked. And she said, God loves me. And something overcame her. And she said many years had passed, and she said those words still humble her. Because she realized this force that we call God, this force we call love, this harmonizing energy made the leaves and the trees and the stars and the trees. I don't know if she said trees or not. I was just trying to rhyme right now. But also made you and me. Because of this amazing presence, we can do anything. She said she can do anything. We are one with God. And God is one with us. God is love. It's the harmonizing force of the universe, and we are here to perfect our loving. It's not something that we just give. It's something that we are being. We are being it. Because it says we're spiritual beings. We're not spiritual doings. We're not spiritual gettings. And we begin to absolutely wake up to that when we practice that like never before. And when we do, we not only transform our communities, we begin to transform the very people that are in it, even if they're not conscious of it. There was a man who was 97 years young. And for 3 years, he had gone to his local fast food restaurant every single day for lunch. Every single day. Happened to be Arby's. He never missed a day. And he'd either eat at the lunch or at the restaurant, or he'd pick up the lunch and take it home with him. And he would order the same thing every single day. It'd be a roast beef sandwich with cheese and a Coke without ice. And after a while, the staff and the manager noticed that this man always ate alone. He was always in silence whenever he came to the restaurant to eat. And eventually, every person in that restaurant memorized his order. They just knew what he was going to order. After a certain time, the staff and the manager became curious about this customer and why he would come every day and just eat alone. Because he needed support of a walker. After a while, when he came after a while, almost on cue, when they would see him, someone would run to the door to open the door to let him in. And one day, the manager decided to find out more about this loyal and mysterious customer. And when he showed up, as he usually did, he always did, the manager and the staff went over to him and asked him, why did he come every day? Why did he order the same meal? Why did he always eat alone? And at first, the manager revealed, the man revealed nothing about himself. He didn't want anybody to know about himself. But then one day, the manager asked the gentleman what kept him coming back. And he said, this is the only place I can get a sandwich that doesn't hurt my stomach. And the manager and the staff found out he was a World War II veteran. He didn't have a family. He was alone. He was dealing with health issues and other challenges in his life, as well as his sensitive stomach. And he went on to say that he came to the restaurant because it was the only place he could eat without adversely affecting his health. And the staff was really moved by him and his openness. And he revealed that over the years, that place had become like a family for him. And of course, the feeling was mutual because they felt that same connection with him every time he came to the restaurant. And the manager personally looked after the man's meals, and whenever a new staff member would come and join the restaurant, they would be briefed on the man's order. They were extra careful with his meals to make sure it didn't upset his stomach or his diet. And he found out he lived in a retirement home, and he only came out for his daily meal at this Arby's restaurant where he considered it to be his second home. And one day there was a customer who saw that one of the employees had slipped on his tray that something, and it was in one of his bags. And the gentleman took out of the bag, and he discovered there was a red card there. And the staff had pulled together money so he could buy them, so they could buy him a $200 gift card. And at first he thought it was some sort of joke. But then he was overcome with happiness. He was overcome by the act of generosity that he received and the love that it was showed to him and expressed toward him by the staff. And he thanked that team. And he said laughingly and kiddingly that, I never know if I will be here the next day, but thank you for this. And then some of the staff members gave him their phone numbers and told him that if there ever came a time he couldn't get there to the restaurant, they would bring the food to him. It was a moving story that eventually moved to national news, but the staff didn't stop there. They decided to do a little bit more for him, and they came up with a way to offer him unlimited free food for the rest of his life. And there was a local optometrist that heard about the story. He came looking for the man and decided to give him free eye exams and free eyeglasses anytime that he needed it. And needless to say, that 97-year-old man, felt immeasurably grateful. He felt immeasurably grateful for the loving gesture he received from his favorite restaurant, because he said he had felt forgotten and didn't remember what it meant to really be and to mean to connect with other people that supported him, loved him in a way. I say all that to say that God is love, and we are here to perfect our loving. It is the way of being that keeps everything and everybody together. Peace and blessings to you. And I'm here to remind you, I'll be back next week. I guess you can't get rid of me. I'm going to be talking about prayer, and the key to prayer is you. So we're looking forward to seeing you. Anyone that joins online, we appreciate you joining in to this presence. At this time, you have the opportunity to support Spiritual Life Center with your donation and your gift. And if you're online or anywhere for that matter, you can text SLC Love at 44321. There's SLC Love at 44321. Or go to our website, slcworld.org, click the Donate tab, and you can give in other ways, including by mail. So we appreciate that. And if you're watching online, depending upon what platform you're on, if you want to help spread this consciousness, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe as we continue to build our virtual community that supports this mission and vision and purpose of Spiritual Life Center. And so now, for those who are here, if you want to give, we have baskets at the exits by the door, so we invite you to give if you want to give in that way as well. At this time, I invite you to join in as we say our offertory blessing together and realize this is the truth of how the universe works. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
I had a dream, a vision. I woke up singing in the middle of the night, 'cause the world had finally got it right. It's got nothing to do with history or which side has lost or won. It's got everything to do with love. When you hear a voice calling somewhere inside you, saying we're not alone, and the music fills your heart with hope. It's got nothing to do with boundaries
Everything to do with love. And let's take in the loving energy of our prayer for protection as we close out our service for today. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. And that's a good thing. Peace and blessings to you.